Considering how much it costs to fill them, it's no wonder today's gas tanks are made to be tough. Factories design a gas tank to safely fit a wide range of vehicles. Worldwide, the industry makes 60 million tanks a year for new cars and trucks, and millions more to replace older damaged tanks in existing cars. Making a gas tank begins with a simple sheet of steel. It's nickel-plated to make the tank rust-resistant. A worker places the steel in a hydraulic press that applies 800 tons of pressure. This compresses the sheet between two dies that shape the bottom half of the tank. The press forces the male die up against the sheet and into the cavity of the female die. To make the top half of the tank, or different size tanks, they simply change dies. On the tank's top section, a stamping press imprints information such as the product and lot numbers and the manufacturer's name. A hydraulic punch then pierces two holes, one for a tube to fill the tank and another to vent it. This machine makes an opening for a component called the Fuel Delivery Module, or FDM. It'll send fuel to the motor. A conveyor moves as many as 180 top sections per hour to the next production phase. There, a worker uses a steel and nylon jig to install a steel ring that'll position the FDM. He spot welds the ring in 6 spots, fusing it to the top section. 2 notches on the ring will align the FDM properly. Workers tack the top and bottom sections together, aligning them properly for the comprehensive welding that follows. 2 metal wheels compress the sections together and water cools the area as a machine called a seam welder fuses the upper and lower halves of the tank. Using a gas torch, a worker fuses a steel tube to the tank with lead solder. This is the filler tube into which you insert the gas nozzle when you fill up at the pump. Fuel flows in and air vents out through the tube simultaneously. A sensor automatically shuts off the gas pump when the air pressure inside the tube reaches a certain point. Most tanks fill only to about 80% capacity to leave room for vapors caused by hot weather. Robots weld the tanks destined for brand new vehicles because the work has to be precise and consistent in order to aid the assembly line robots at the auto plant. The human welded models are sold to auto repair shops as replacements for damaged tanks. They don't require the same precision because a mechanic does a custom installation. When the robots finish welding the tanks, they transfer them to a conveyor belt that moves them to the next production phase. There, a worker attaches a tin-plated venting tube. Tin makes it rust-resistant. He adds a steel component called a baffle to the bottom section of the tank. This reduces the sloshing of fuel inside the tank. The result? Less noise for the driver and less metal fatigue for the tank. They're usually just for tanks found in larger vehicles, like SUVs and small trucks. A worker now places the top section onto the bottom section, pulling a hose through the opening in the top. This hose will connect to the FDM. After a welding machine fuses both halves together, another machine bends the sides downward. This gives designers extra space to work with. They test every tank for leaks by dunking it underwater. After blocking all the holes in the tank, they pump a little extra air inside it. They shine bright spotlights and look for bubbles in the water. If air can escape, so can gasoline. No bubbles, and the gas tank passes inspection. Only then is it ready for shipping and a starring role in your car.